Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of AACRAO's Credential Chats. We are joined this week by a very enthusiastic Erin Brickley. Erin is Director of Leadership Franklin County, as well as the Associate Registrar for the Arkansas Tech University Ozark campus. Erin, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation and looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you started out just telling us that you're passionate about this, and so maybe just by way of kicking us off, you could share what is it that y'all are doing there, and what has you so passionate about it?
All right. So we are a smaller two-year community college, and our focus has been trying to make more on-ramps for students to be able to start their career and pathway. And with that, we have started working with the Education Design Lab. We've been with them for about a year and a half now, just trying to find ways to work with industry and our community to provide, easy pathways for students to get started through the non-credit environment. And of course, the goal is for them to be able to transition into our credit programs as well.
And that makes so much sense, that last part, especially for why there would be registrar leadership on this project. And so, maybe you could share just, kind of how did you decide what to offer? And what kind of lens and hat you've been wearing, as a representative of the Office of the Registrar in the conversations working with Design Lab, and I'm guessing the employer community and the
Yeah.
subject matter experts there on campus.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got a team, myself as well as Brianna Ingram. We are co-leading this project. We both work in academic affairs here on our campus. And so we also had industry involved as well as we were deciding how we were going to choose our pathways. With that, we looked at labor market information and talked to our industry partners. Um, Trying to find what is the need, what is the emergent need of our area, and what can we offer to our students to make them employable and ready to enter into the workforce. So definitely starting with the labor market information and seeing what was high demand, what the emergent need was, and then having those conversations with the industry leaders. We learned three important areas that we wanted to focus on. So those are going to be industrial maintenance. We're doing a non-credit supervisory training, non-credit class. Um, and that's going to be in partnership with our business and industry department that we have here at the ATU Ozark campus as well. And the third area of focus is going to be in community healthcare. And we've got three levels that are going to be underneath that for students to be able to obtain and then hopefully move into our credit bearing program here of human services. So that's really exciting. A great way for students to kind of get introduced to the program and be able to get started in the workplace while still continuing their education. So that's where I'm really excited and passionate about is being able to see these students get an early start and kind of work as they go along. Another area that we looked at was our learner persona. So who are we serving? That was very important to us. So we looked at our groups of students and our community, who would be taking these classes? Who is this going to impact the most? And so that's where we reached out and actually did some panel sessions with current students. Um, and we really looked at our three main areas where this was going to impact the most. And that was with our low income first generation group, our non-traditional students, and this can be a group of, they might be parents, they might have started college and had to stop to go into the workforce, and now they're needing to upskill and reskill. So they want to get back into the workforce and maybe have something, a higher credential. And so we looked at those groups, and then also we looked at, which is really prevalent here in our community, is the concurrent student or the dual enrollment student. And what could we kind of assist with them as well to kind of get them a great start as well into the workforce. So that's kind of the backside of where we started was who are we aiming this project for? And again, what was most needed. And so that's where industry was so very important. kind of getting that feedback and learning what they needed.
Erin, it's just so crystal clear the like learner-centered approach that you're taking there at ATU. And I'm curious, how easy was it for, you and your peers on campus to kind of shift from focusing on, these are our prescribed finish lines that we normally have for our learners to here's actually where we can have really great starting lines for our learners to help them, get to where they want to go by focusing first on, how do we just meet them where they already are?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's just the biggest goal, really, is just meeting the student where they are. We've got to be able to offer um, education and being accessible. That's what's most important is how can we be accessible to these students and be able to offer something for them that is going to, in turn, better their quality of life. I mean, that's what it's all about.
That just is, yeah, at the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
it's about helping them access their successful futures. And I really love how you put that. When you talk about these pathways you talk about stackable credentials, and you probably had some like registrar radars going off with our audience when you talked about pathways from non-credit to for credit. And so maybe you could describe kind of just, what the plan is with that, and also really curious while they're doing the non-credit aspect, how you're documenting, and tracking the learning achievement that's happening so that you're setting yourself up down the road for when you eventually, can do prior learning assessment.
Yeah, definitely. I think through my lens, which has been so beneficial, is working in academic affairs, serving as the registrar for the campus. I'm highly involved in the curricular process for our campus and working with faculty, really knowing the curriculum. So one thing that we're really striving for is that the curriculum that is generated for the micro-credential is going to match what we're currently doing on our campus. That way it makes a more seamless transition for our student. So kind of having that background of knowing what the curriculum currently is and incorporating that into these micro-credentials has really, I feel like hopefully is benefiting the overall project. And that's what I'm seeing through kind of the lens of what I currently do here. Um, we also have a prior learning assessment program here, so we're looking at that very carefully. We're going to create some different modules of how we're going to assess that student's micro-credential and use that as prior learning to be able to stack that into that credit-bearing degree later on. So yes, all of that's going to be factored into how we measure their success, how we measure their attainments, and be able to kind of, progress them through each program.
And it sounds like, to allay some people's probably fears is that it's not, oh, you got a badge, therefore we're going to give you academic credit, but rather using this badge as a signal for the learning that's contained within it in order
Yeah,
to, as a starting place, I guess, for validation.
yeah, that's a great way of saying it. And some of that we're still trying to kind of work out and figure out how we're going to manage this. We're hoping to kick off our first micro-credential late spring and the early summer. And so, these are things that we are going to be looking at very thoroughly here in the future. But yes, being able to say, hey, you have these learning outcomes, and now let's get you to the next level of the attainment.
Mm. And I mean, so much about this, Aaron, is just anchored in trust. And one thing that I hear you kind of saying it that just I think sounds really exciting for what you're doing at ATU Ozark campus is not only focusing on why employers would want to trust this credential, but also it sounds like faculty. That sounds to me like you're doing a real intentional effort with faculty that, hey, this isn't about like trying to shorten things and get people to not take your classes, but we're very carefully aligning these non-credit things with your learning outcomes, and we want your input, and we
Yes.
want you to try, like before they're earned and trusted out in the community we want you as the subject matter experts to trust what the work that's going on here.
Oh, definitely. That's been, center focus of this as well, is incorporating those faculty members, program chairs, because we appreciate and value the knowledge that they have and that they're able to bring to us and say, hey, this is what would be most important for the for the beginning, for the beginning of this micro-credential. But definitely having their buy-in, their expertise, and getting, like you say, their trust, um, makes this project all that much more valuable, as well. As it's just going to provide a better learning outcome, I think, for the students.
You've talked about making this just so student-centered and doing what's best for learners. And I can't help but wonder if, whether it's overtly being stated or in the back of people's minds, the kind of enrollment management strategy that kind of could go hand in hand with some of this of
Yeah.
you know, because of what you're doing, it seems like you might be able to meet some learners who wouldn't see that larger finish line as being part of their journey, but meeting them where they are with the shorter, non-credit opportunity to start out is a way of getting them their feet in the door, perhaps, and creating a whole new pipeline for enrollment that actually, at the end of the day, strategically could be increasing the number of our seats.
Enrollment. Yes, definitely. Yeah, that's kind of the objective, was to be able to provide these credentials for students, kind of get them introduced to the field, that workforce, or maybe they're already currently in that workforce and they just wanted to upskill, reskill, and be able to maybe be um, able for a promotion. So that definitely is the intent of, you know, getting that out there. Now, as far as the marketing, that is something that's yes, we're going to have to work on that a little bit as well as we start to launch this. But yeah, being able to possibly offer evening classes or weekend classes, and kind of again going back to meeting that learner where they're at, because if they currently are in the workforce, maybe they want to try a new career. We've got to be able to provide accessibility, maybe different solutions, and just trying to be to where we're more available to them.
And Erin, out of curiosity, just with that kind of enrollment management strategy being something, I'm also wondering how did something like that help with just the internal culture and messaging and going back to that trust, especially with faculty, that this is not short circuiting associate degrees necessarily. This is not trying to take seats away from you, but actually hopefully lending some confidence that this is not a coupon to get out of a bunch of classes, but rather actually maybe accelerate and increase the number of people who are pursuing your degrees at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is not in at all in an effort to, like you say, take away from anything that we're currently doing on our campus. It's just it's a starting point. It's a way for students to get started and get interested in a program and then want to continue with it. And so yes, the hopes is it's going to provide more interest. It's going to provide more enrollment. And those students may even be more successful in the long run. They may go through a short micro-credential and really be excited about that program, and then be a little more vested in trying to finish that program. They may feel, I earned this attainment. What can I do next? Sometimes there's programs that are offered and students don't earn anything until 2 or more years down the road, depending on how quickly they're able to take the classes. So I feel like it's going to be very beneficial, and I hope, as we all do that are working on this project, that it's going to increase confidence in students, especially those that may have not been in the classroom for a very long time, and feel like I don't know if I can do this. Well, yeah, that you can, and this is what we're here for, and we're trying to help build them along and provide opportunities to where they can earn these small credentials that are going to lead into a greater credential for them in the long run.
Yeah, that student success lens, I think, is just so important. It's great to hear, that there's leadership at the office of the registrar on that front. And, I think we had time for one more question. Just sticking with that kind of culture piece, Erin. You have really broad kind of constituencies, representing, it seems like, the leadership of this effort. And
Yes.
I'm wondering, to what extent that breadth of kind of championship is what's really helpful for the culture. And as well as if you want to hype a little bit the involvement and leadership of the Office of the Registrar, does that actually, did you bring an extra layer of trust internally, with faculty and other units because of the Office of the Registrar, serious people being involved in leading this?
Yeah, I hope so. But yeah, definitely. Again, we're a smaller campus. Our offices and departments all work together. We collaborate a lot already on our campus, which is really beneficial, and it's a great environment to work in. So I do have to say that we already have that collaboration, and I feel that trust already. But yes, I would agree with you. I feel like bringing all of these departments together builds more trust into saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is what this is the vision that we have, and we'd like you to be a part of it, and how can we help? And so definitely having that teamwork and that collaboration, I think, has made it what it is right now.
Like collaboration, student-centered design, and listening, starting from the end of what the opportunities that our learners are going to access and asking those opportunity providers like employers, what do we need to do to make sure we're going to be successful? It sounds like you're really onto something and some secret sauce there.
I hope so. We'll keep you updated.
Please do. And really appreciate you taking the time to join us on AACRAO Credential Chats. She is Erin Brickley of Arkansas Tech University, Ozark campus. Erin, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And we appreciate you, everybody, for taking the valuable time and energy to join us here on AACRAO's Credential Chats. Until next time, have a badge worthy week. So long.